Okay, let's think about this for a second. What happens when just a handful of people get a mission that could literally change the course of a war? I mean, the stakes are sky high, and failure? Well, failure isn't just an option, it could be a global catastrophe. And no, this isn't the plot of the latest blockbuster movie. This is the day-to-day reality for Army Special Operations Forces.
So how in the world do these small, super elite teams pull off such an outsized impact? It's not just about having the coolest gear or the most intense training. It's about something deeper. It's about having an absolutely brilliant playbook.
And that, right there, is the central question we're going to tackle in this explainer. How can a small team of soldiers really fundamentally change the direction of a conflict? How do they give our national leaders options that are somehow discreet, incredibly precise, and unbelievably powerful, all at the same time?
All right, so let's get into it. The answer, believe it or not, lies in their doctrine. And I know, doctrine sounds like some dry, dusty manual, but it's not. Think of it more like a shared philosophy, a carefully crafted guide for taking on the world's messiest, most complex problems. This doctrine is the mental framework, the intellectual engine that lets them turn impossible into mission accomplished. And that playbook has a name. It's Army Doctrine Publication 3-05, or as we'll call it, ADP 3-05. Now, again, this is so much more than a manual. It's really the strategic DNA of the Army's Special Operations Forces, or ARSOF. It lays out exactly how they think, how they plan, and ultimately how they execute missions in some of the most dangerous and difficult places you can imagine. So, what exactly are special operations? Well, the official definition really gets to the heart of it. It's all about what makes them unique. We're talking about unique modes of employment, operating in politically sensitive environments, and taking on a high degree of risk. Let's be clear, these aren't your standard military missions. These are custom-built solutions for problems that have no easy, off-the-shelf answer. Okay, so with all that risk and complexity, how do you even begin to manage it? Well, every single special operation is built on 3 core foundational principles. And these aren't just, nice ideas or suggestions. They are the absolute essential ingredients for success. First up, they have to be discreet. This is all about deliberately shrinking the U.S. footprint, operating low profile so you don't make a bad situation even worse. Second, they are precise, and this one is absolutely crucial. It means using the best intelligence possible to act with, surgical accuracy. The goal is to get the job done with little to no collateral damage. And finally, third, they've got to be scalable. One mission might be a tiny 2-person team. The next might involve a much larger force working as part of a major campaign. That flexibility, that's what makes them so strategically valuable. Okay, so we have these guiding principles. But how do they actually put them into action? Well, ADP 305 boils down all of ARSOF's incredible capabilities into 2 core competencies. You can really think of these as the 2 main tools in their strategic toolbox. The first one is called special warfare. And what's so important to get here is that it's all about the human element. This is the famous with and through approach. We're talking about long-term stuff, building real relationships, deeply understanding other cultures, and helping local partners get strong enough to handle their own problems. It's a game of influence and partnership, not just showing up with a bigger stick. And the second competency? That's surgical strike. And it is truly the other side of the coin. This is for when influence just isn't going to cut it, and a direct, immediate threat has to be dealt with, right now. Surgical strike is all about direct action. We're talking precise, high-stakes missions to take out a specific target, whether it's a person or a place, often in places where nobody else can even get to. And right here, you can see the brilliant balance between these 2 ideas. Think about it like this. Special warfare is the indirect approach. It's about playing the long game. Surgical strike? That's the direct approach, a fast, decisive move. So let me paint a picture for you. You could have a special warfare team spending months, maybe even years in some remote region, building trust with local forces, training them up, helping them secure their own communities from an insurgency. That's the long game, right? But then, suddenly, intelligence pinpoints the exact location of the insurgency's top leader, a guy who's actively planning attacks. That's when you might see a surgical strike mission launched, a quick, precise operation to remove that one specific threat, which in turn protects all the progress that special warfare team has been making. The real genius of ARSOF is knowing which tool to pull out of the toolbox, when to use it, and, this is key, how to use them together to create an effect that actually lasts. You know, to put all this in a totally different context, there's a really great analogy from the business world. If you're into tech or innovation, you've probably heard of a skunkworks team, right? It's that small, super elite group that gets pulled aside to work on the really advanced, high-stakes secret projects. Well, in a lot of ways, you can think of ARSOF as the Army's very own skunkworks.
And this really makes that connection super clear. Look at ARSOF's methods: discreet, precise, scalable. What does that sound like? A quiet, agile, impactful team in the business world. AirSoft uses small, autonomous teams. A skunkworks uses small, cross-functional cells. Both of them take on incredibly high-risk projects that are politically sensitive or have high rewards on the line. And the goal at the end of the day? It's exactly the same. Achieve a massive, disproportionate strategic impact with a very small, very focused team.
But here's the thing. A playbook, no matter how brilliant, is totally useless without the right players on the field. And what really sets a special operator apart isn't just being in peak physical condition. It's a mindset. It's a whole different way of thinking. ADP 3-5 calls these the imperatives, and they're basically the fundamental rules that guide how every single operator approaches their mission. And this is so important. Their value is just as much intellectual as it is physical. For example, an operator has to constantly recognize the political implications of everything they do. I mean, what good is a successful raid if it accidentally destabilizes a friendly government? It's a failure. They're also trained to anticipate the long-term effects. They have to think, okay, this might be a win for us today, but could it create 10 new enemies for us tomorrow? And maybe most important of all, every single action they take has to be designed to ensure legitimacy, credibility, and trust. Because without the trust of the local people and partner forces, the whole mission just falls apart. These aren't just boxes to check at the end of a mission plan, they are right at the very heart of it, from the very beginning. And that last one, trust. That's really it. That's the cornerstone of everything we've just talked about. The principles of being discreet and precise, the competencies of special warfare and surgical strike, this entire doctrine, all of it, every last bit, rests on a solid foundation of professional trust. You know, there's a quote directly from the doctrine that just says it all perfectly. It says they are trusted Army professionals of character, competence, and commitment. That trust isn't just given. It has to be earned from our nation's leaders, from our international partners, and from the American people. And it comes from showing up every single day with character, with competence, and with commitment. And it comes from a relentless focus on getting the mission done the right way, ethically, effectively, and efficiently. That's the standard. It's completely non-negotiable.
So this brings us right back to where we started. That outsized impact these small teams have, it's not just about what they do, it's about how they do it. It's this powerful mix of a brilliant doctrine, a unique way of thinking, and an absolute, unshakable commitment to earning and keeping trust. And that really leaves us with a pretty deep question to think about. What does it actually take to build and then sustain an entire force whose defining characteristic is trust? If you got something out of this breakdown, hey, make sure you subscribe for more explainers just like it. Thanks for tuning in.